So this is an extra episode for our Spiral Tap podcast. So yeah, last episode we didn't have our good friend Darren on board. So this is Darren. So say hi.
Yeah, so quick introduction. So I'm Darren, one of the, I guess.
Yeah, part of the collective.
Yeah, I wasn't here for the past 2 weeks because of various shift work. So here I am.
Yep.
I'm going to help cover some of the things that they want to talk about today.
Yeah.
Quick introduction is I'm basically a student. I don't have any gaming industry experience.
Yes.
So I'm mostly seeing things from layman perspective of stuff. So it'll be quite interesting to ask them questions on like from the professional's views.
Yeah, but you're not exactly a layman, because your views and thoughts are not exactly.
Layman.
Yeah.
I'm literally the layman.
And you're not just a normal student. You're a medical student. So.
Yeah, but that's not relevant. I mean, I'm just a regular.
Yeah, I guess.
Time.
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So my basic intro.
So maybe let's just start with what have you been playing for the past 2 weeks?
Alright, so the past 2 weeks I've been basically playing Monster Hunter because Monster Hunter is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone who has a PS4 or if you have Xbox, then too bad for you. But if you have Xbox, yeah, you should get Monster Hunter. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So do you think this current Monster Hunter it's a lot better than previous one, or because of its like out of explosive success? So what do you think contributed to its success?
I think the reason why this Monster Hunter is so successful is because one, it's much easier to get into as compared to the older version.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quite sure you can agree on that.
Yes, definitely.
Well,
We are the ones playing it almost every night. Yeah.
Monster Hunter fans.
Yeah.
And I think there's been a severe lack of games which are hard
Mm-hmm.
in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like recently, at least personally, that's what I feel. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's very hard to find that game that people can it's considerably harder than what you normally get from a regular game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like there's a big niche where people want harder games, and
Mm-hmm.
I think Monster Hunter kind of feels that little gap lah.
Mm-hmm.
It came out in a good time lah, I guess.
Yeah, it came out like early in the year when there wasn't any much good games
Yeah.
coming out as well. Yeah. Interesting. Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a great game. It's a good game.
Mhm.
Some people may not like it. Monster Hunter has always been a bit of an iffy game.
Yeah.
You either really love it or you either really
Yeah,
hate it.
it's always a love or hate relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very love hate. It's very polar. There's no like I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
Usually like I love the game.
Or you hate the shit out of it. Yeah.
I hate the shit out of it.
Yep.
It's one of those games.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the one with the most dedicated fan bases, right?
Yes.
Games where
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have a very committed community, and then we can always talk about this, like, because there are also certain drawbacks with having such a hardcore community as well.
I mean, the prevalence of internet has kind of reduced the need for a community in that sense.
Mhm.
Because there's like data mining and stuff. Like
Yeah,
that.
correct.
Not like last time. So I guess in a way it reduces it a little bit, but I get what you mean.
So yeah, for me, yeah, the both of us have been playing Monster Hunter, so we're almost always online, almost
Our
every.
schedule is basically like you do the entire day,
Yeah.
then you get to like 1 a.m. and it says
Let's go.
then we end up playing to like 3, then we
Yeah.
read the next day, but we do it again
Yeah,
the
it's
following day anyway.
Stockholm syndrome, day after day.
It's like you can't leave.
Yeah.
Hotel California.
So yeah.
Check out.
Yeah. So on to kind of what I want to talk about. During the last episode, we were talking about our favorite games, and a lot of the times, almost half of the conversation that I had with Dale, we were about RPGs during the early PS1 and PS2 eras. So let's talk about RPGs.
Yes. So firstly, RPGs, I'm a huge fan of.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly Japanese RPGs.
Mm-hmm.
Western ones are kind of alright. It's been getting better, but
Mhm.
yeah. So mainly Japanese JRPGs are like
Mhm.
my go-to when you talk about RPG.
So for me, I'm half and half on both JRPGs and Western RPGs. But I do like quite a bit of Western RPGs, much more. JRPGs.
And is there like
Yeah.
so actually let's talk a bit about what you would define as a RPG.
Yes, because that definition has been pretty sketchy nowadays with so many games with elements that would classify itself as RPG but aren't exactly RPG. So what would you think is a classification?
Where would I draw the line?
Mhm.
I think an RPG, in my honest opinion, I think RPGs have to be story driven.
Mhm.
It has to be a game where the main focus is the draw of the main story
Okay.
and basically development of the protagonist and his friends as well as maybe the antagonist, depending on how the game is like.
Mhm.
Less so on mechanics, because if you think about it,
Mhm.
most of the RPG games people would find that it's usually either one, you have stats growth, those games where you
Mhm.
kill monsters in the level up.
Yeah.
So and then that's what usually people would describe as like RPG mechanics.
Mhm. Well, yeah, those are the defining features of an RPG, I would say. Yeah.
So for me, it's like I would classify anything where it's more story driven, but
Mhm.
the game elements have to do with like leveling up and
Mhm.
stuff like that. And under RPG for me.
So immersive story, very good narrative, and a sense of growth.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a very good narrative, but it has to be very clear that the main point is for you to appreciate the narrative.
Mhm. But
I would put Mass Effect as a RPG for sure,
Mhm.
even though it's not really the typical
Yeah.
RPG style of kill mobs and level up kind of thing.
Yep. So, but in RPG, what it stands for is role-playing games.
Yeah.
So, do you feel that you are playing a role in a sense when playing an RPG game, especially a JRPG game?
Yeah. Okay, so like I think that's where a lot of the big difference between RPG and JRPGs kind of lie.
Yeah.
I hope we're not jumping too fast, but
Mhm.
I think like a good problem, but rather I think a good indication is like Japanese RPGs usually are written in a way that the protagonist is not you.
Yeah.
You are not the protagonist. Basically, ABC or some other dude actually going through this dude's story.
Yes.
But I think a lot of the Western RPGs, well, at least what I can think of,
Mhm.
a lot of them is basically open-ended, like it's a self-insert kind of thing. Like
Yes, correct.
I think good examples would be, so Mass Effect might be one of the examples I
Yep.
can think of. You have the general story, but you are playing the story as your Commander Shepard rather than a Commander Shepard.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying?
The Commander Shepard or
The
yeah.
Commander Shepard, yeah, that's right. If you're playing as your Commander Shepard, a Commander Shepard, rather
Yes.
than the Commander Shepard. Rather as compared to, let's say, Final Fantasy like 9, where you're playing as Zidane, or you're trying to you look through the story in the eyes of the protagonist and
Mhm.
how he's written by the designer himself.
I see. Which is sometimes I do agree the classification shouldn't even be so strict with regards to RPGs. Almost anything can be RPG nowadays.
Yeah. So I think that what usually the community would describe as RPG is something that would, one thing like say you get levels and there's a sense of progression
Mhm.
by a stats acquirement of skills rather than giving you all the tools right at the start.
Mhm.
Or so it's more it's character growth but in the sense of stats, and I think that's what a lot of people think RPG games are.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah. A very mechanical sense of things, which always applies to Japanese games in general because they're always very mechanically driven.
So for me,
Mhm.
I feel that stories
Mhm.
personally should be in the view of how the creator wants it to be,
I see.
rather than to have it be super open-ended.
Ah.
Like if you want to tell a good RPG story, it has to have maybe one maybe two endings, but it should never have like open-ended, like do you want to solve this, how do you want to solve that
I
kind of
see.
thing. Like it should be in a sense kind of linear in
Mhm.
how the story plays out. What do you think about that?
I think for narrative for RPG, yes, that's definitely true. I mean, if I'm gonna take it from the Western RPG point of view, most Western RPGs also follow the same format. You definitely have a pretty linear story. Let's think of it from your point A to your point B, being point A your start, point B your end. They're always there. It's just that the paths you take to get there are gonna be different for each player. So to me, that in itself is also an RPG.
You prefer this kind of more open-ended way of solving the problem.
I like to see what options I can do in order to take me to a destination. So even if at the end of the day everyone's destination is the same, the journey itself matters more than the destination.
That's interesting because the big few Western RPGs that I can think of that actually does this well is like The Witcher for one.
Yeah, with the Witcher series.
One of the few Western RPGs that I really enjoyed. It does have that. It has the element which you're talking about, which is there's so many things you want to do. There's so many things you can do. And how
that kind of is subjective as well. Yeah.
Okay, I mean would you consider Skyrim an RPG?
I guess as thin as the story is, I guess.
Right. So
yeah.
I mean, it's the problem is that if you have too wide of a breadth, right, it becomes very hard to tell a story.
Yes.
As for like Witcher, while the breadth is very large, the core mechanics are still the same.
They still string you along in a certain path in a way.
Correct. Like that's what I'm trying to say. Like it's not that it's a lot to do with how you write it in the strength of the game itself rather than try to shoehorn it in. Like open world exploration for Witcher was amazing because I mean there's always something new to explore. There's always a reason why you explore. I feel like it's something your main character would do. Okay, I mean Skyrim is a bad example for us. If you can think of any good RPG that you would like me to compare it to,
there's more open. I would say comparatively, I would prefer the Fallout series rather than the Skyrim series.
Okay.
For us, more structured in a way. Yes.
Okay, Fallout 4 was New Vegas was pretty good.
Yeah, New Vegas was amazing.
Yeah, New Vegas was probably one of my favorite ones that recently came out to like 3 and 4.
Yeah.
I think New Vegas kind of does it well, but at the same time, it feels the word I think is disjointed. Like you want to have a sense of urgency. Just like I gotta find the guy who shot me.
Yeah.
And then suddenly he takes a long detour and does something completely out of it.
Yeah, he goes around and go and kill some rebels. Go and do this, go and do that. Yeah.
That's what side quests are, but at the same time, it's like it doesn't fit the urgency of what thing it would be in a game like that. And that's a big problem when I come to like immersion. There's a lot of different types of immersion. There can be one immersion that is because like I'm giving you so many tools, you can do whatever you want in the form of immersion.
Yeah.
And then there can be another one where you're immersed in like the character and how the character is like. And I think RPGs should be more of the latter rather than the former.
I see.
At least for me lah. So what do you think about
I think it's a discussion we should have brought Dale in as well, because this is a prevalent problem in open world games. The sense of tension that always drops in an open world game where you're running around in the world and you'll get distracted by all the other side things along the way. Then when it's a tension point in the story, you just get distracted by it because of all the other things around.
It's like a good example is Assassin's Creed Origin. We talked about it sometime back at the store, and it's like, yes, it's not a bad game. It's no means a bad game. But there are some times where you're like, I really want to progress the story, but I gotta kill hippopotamus.
Yeah, hunt a few shit just to get.
I go hunt the crocodile to get my stuff up so I can go, do something. I mean, it's like, really? Is that what the main character would do?
Yeah, so contextually it doesn't make sense at all. Yes.
The problem is that a lot of times we forget, and then gameplay takes precedence over a lot of these narrative things, and I can understand why, but at the same time, it kind of defeats the purpose,
Definitely does defeat the purpose if it doesn't make any contextual sense. So beyond that,
that's my gripe on like open world. I mean, open world games are fun, but it's just that when you try to sell, like, think of an open world game and think of how many storylines actually manage to like keep you
hooked throughout the entire campaign.
Yes, for the entire story. Like, other than Witcher, you think of another game where you're like, damn, I want to complete this open world main story quest.
Well, can I give an example where I want to complete it because I want to get it over and done with quickly as possible?
No, that obviously doesn't count.
Yeah, I have too many of those examples though, with regards to open world games. So yes, there always is a problem.
Yeah, that's my gripe in general. But see, that's the problem. Like, a lot of Western RPGs actually are moving towards this. I mean, there are some which are not, like Divinity. I haven't actually finished Divinity, sadly.
Yeah, neither have I. Yeah.
Yeah, but Divinity was a fun game. 2 was quite good as well. So stuff like Pillars of Eternity. Is it called Pillars of Eternity?
Yeah. I have a Humble Bundle gift for that. I haven't got to it yet. Yeah, so
Like games like this are more traditional storytelling.
Mhm.
I think it does the sense of character creation well, because you know you're playing your star characters, which is the strength of an RPG
Yes.
in the Western perspective. Like, because the roots of RPG is kind of like,
role playing.
at least for me, I would
Yeah.
feel it's like very D&D style kind of thing. You know, you like
Mhm.
make your own character and
Yeah.
then you live in the story told by this guy, right?
Yeah.
And I think these games do it well, like
Mhm.
they do it well. But when you slowly progress to a point where it's open world, then you start to lose all this focus. You know?
Yes.
You're no longer going on a story. You're going on here. I'll put you in a sandbox, and then
Yeah.
just go and explore. And then if you're free, just go do the main story.
So let me offer you a
And
JRPG that's
something like-
going
yeah,
that direction.
Yeah, and that worries me. Like, look at Final Fantasy. Oh,
Yes, Final Fantasy 15. Let's talk about it.
yeah, 15. Okay. I haven't finished 15. It's I'm
Yeah, but most of the open world segments occur in the first 75% of the game, I would say.
Yes, but you see, that's the big problem. 15 doesn't have a very strong narrative, and a lot of it is weakened by the fact that it's kind of open world.
Yes. And one of the biggest problems of the game is the contextual sense of it.
Yes, it's like, hey, we need you to get to the city, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's go on a road.
Or hey, the roads are closed, so you are the prince. Get me a bracelet so that I can get you on a boat. What?
Yeah.
What? Where does a prince need to do that?
Exactly, and I'm just like, I mean, I can see why you gameplay wise, but come on, man, that's. I just didn't really. I enjoyed it, the gameplay wise, but I just didn't enjoy it. It wasn't a Final Fantasy. It could have been any other game.
You would say that it wouldn't exactly deserve the Final Fantasy title.
It's the same problem which I mentioned before. It didn't need to be a Final Fantasy game.
I see.
It could be a completely new IP, and I would have loved the shit out of it.
Okay.
But the fact that it's a Final Fantasy game, you know, it's like it has some sort of narrative, and then all this new stuff happens, and you're kind of like, I kind of want to enjoy it, but at the same time, it's like it's messing with my expectations.
Are you like adamant on like the old school or the old guard kind of thinking where RPGs needs to follow a certain formula, have certain mechanics in play?
I mean, I would be open for brand new mechanics, but I think the core value of an RPG is its narrative strength. You should feel that you are in this world that they have built, and you are trying to solve whatever actively the writer or creator has
Set up for you.
there, and every action you do should add up to you solving the problem. And that's basically what a good RPG game would be, where you are actually involved and you're absorbed into the game, which is why it blurs the line of open world, because open world also wants to kind of accept this. It could get this feeling, but they do it in a different style of immersion.
Like throwing a lot of
I
shit
hope-
in the wall.
Yeah, I mean, giving you a lot of things which you can do, which is in a way immersive as well, but in a different kind of aspect. And
I
I
see.
think it's fine. Like if you want to talk about alternate RPG style, like a one that I would absolutely consider a RPG, all sense and purposes, and has a completely unique mechanic is this DS game, The World Ends With You.
Ah, yes.
Yes. It came out on the iOS also, I believe. I bought both versions. It was,
What? You
I
bought
enjoyed the
both
game.
versions?
Yeah, I bought both. I bought the DS version when it first came out. It was amazing. I played it. I got almost 100% the game.
Okay.
It was amazing. I even did that stupid mini game where you have to knock the guy. You basically play Beyblade on that thing.
Oh.
And it was basically a fun RPG. So if you don't know what The World Ends With You is, it's an RPG set in like Tokyo, where the storyline is these kids are dead, and then they basically get selected by these reapers to undergo a game, and if you win the game, you are able to come back to life. So it's a very generic, it's a very standardized RPG kind of story. But the gameplay wise is very unique, because you have two screens, and then you have the bottom screen which you control the main character. You basically act on it with the stylus, the DS. Like you slash and then you tap and then you do all stuff things, you trigger the attacks. And then your top half is your partner, which is controlled by a completely separate mechanism, which is either your D-pad or stuff like that.
I see.
So you're actually managing two battles at the same time. And I thought that was really, really fun. It was a really
Yeah, that made really good use of the DS dual screens.
Yeah,
So
and the reason why it comes up with it in the game is it makes sense also, because they say like, oh, if you don't have a partner, they want it to be a partner kind of style. So if you don't have a partner, you immediately lose the game. You can't fight back.
Ah.
So that's why you have the 2 screens every day. So it's a bit of trying to sell the hardware.
Mhm.
But overall, the storyline was great. There were a lot of plot twists. There was a lot of interesting ways you could solve the problems. There was interesting combat, which was definitely not normal RPG, because you wouldn't be able to gain stats. I think you only be able to gain stats by eating food. To eat the food, you have to wait for actual time to pass. So each day you have a certain unit of time that you could, like, let's say you had like 8 units of food, and then you could assign 8 of them, and that will become stats. But you have to wait until the next day before the stats got it. So it was a very, very weird system.
So it's a delayed. It's not instant gratification in a way.
Yeah, it wasn't like a RPG where you could still grind out the monsters, but you still had to do this, like, there was a soft cap of time. So it was weird, but I didn't mind it because it was compelling enough for me to play.
I see.
And the gameplay wise, the story wise, it was good. So
yeah.
I'm okay with having a game which mechanically is different from regular standard RPG, but the core mechanics, the core story of I want to know what is happening and why this is happening and what the resolution for the story is basically what I would like to say about RPG games.
I see.
I mean, what I like to see in RPG.
So, any recent RPGs that you played that also fulfill this narrative?
Recent RPG. Okay, so I played a shit ton of Final Fantasy 14. I've been playing it for like 2+ years. It's great. I played all the expansions. It's currently.
Were you there for 1.0?
No, I wasn't there for 1.0.
I see.
Because I was in the army.
But
I wasn't there for one. But I joined after the realm reopened. So I kind of skipped the most terrible part. So lucky me. But so the game is amazing. It's the most Final Fantasy thing I've played.
Which is weird considering it's an online MMORPG.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So it's great. It has a great narrative. It has a bit of a problem where because as an MMO RPG, everyone is the main character. So
Yes.
You know how that goes.
So the story is always written in a very your protagonist can always be inserted into the story in one way or another.
Yes. And then it always be like, go get there's a bit of disjoint because you have to factor in the multiplayer aspect of things. So let's say you want to go on a dungeon, like let's say the dungeon is like, we need you to raid this facility so that we can get this. Bring your friends because we need skilled adventurers. So you queue in the party finder. There's a bit of disjoint. But overall, the storyline, if you discount the whole disjointedness, you have to understand it's RPG.
It still has that legacy issues of its platform. Yeah.
I mean, I don't see any way this will ever be resolved because it's a more of a multiplayer thing rather than a legacy kind of thing. Like if you want a multiplayer story, it's like. But
are the raids only doable with a group, or can you literally run through the game entirely on your own?
So a lot of things are all by group finders. You can group find through basically every part of the story. Only the extreme versions, which is basically the raid version, the try-hard versions, like I want to call it, the ones where you need to have a group of friends, everybody is committed.
Which is the true MMO raid style stuff.
Yeah, the true MMO kind of raid. It's basically only the extreme variant. The regular variants can all be usually done by a raid finder. So you never feel like you're at a war.
I see. So someone who is not as skilled can still play through the game relatively well.
You can definitely complete the game. You can enjoy the story. You can even enjoy because the amazing thing about Final Fantasy 14 is that the raids actually have a part to play in the story. And it feels good because it's like I'm not raiding just for say raiding.
Yeah, you're not just thinking about the loot or just thinking about the monsters they are fighting. So it's mostly about the story. Yeah, it's basically while you're also doing for the loot, you are actually solving a key portion in the story. Like, why do I want to do this? Why do I want to do this raid? It's because I need to prevent this thing from happening, or stuff like that. So it's really good, it actually adds to the story rather than to distract you from the story. And then you can go through the main story without ever touching the raid, and that's the best part. You can decide like, hey, I'm not gonna do raids. I don't really care about this storyline. So the raid storyline are critical to the main storyline.
They are not, but they are referenced to in the world. So there are some portions where they go like, oh yeah, we've done this before, so don't worry. And then you're like, oh yeah, I did it before. stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was in the previous version there was basically a huge optional raid called the Alexandria raid, which if you played Final Fantasy is that huge castle
Mm-hmm.
dude. And then his ability is to stop time, or at least he has timey-wimey stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go through the entire main story without ever going to encounter him.
Ah.
But
Mhm.
if you do want to, you're actually greeted with this really compelling story on, oh, why is he activated now? And then they introduce a new character, and what's this character's motive? Stuff like that.
Oh.
And you wouldn't get it if you. It's not part of the main story,
Mhm.
but it explains why certain characters were not there during the story. Like, oh, they were actually doing this instead.
Oh.
Yeah.
So there's extra side stories that involves the characters.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's a definitely a side story.
Mm.
Like they'll say like, oh, you actually meet with a group of people in the council, and then they all have their own things that they need to do, and they add up to like different parts of the story.
I see.
So that's the fun. So I played a lot of it, and it's great. I think it's definitely a RPG game for sure, without a doubt. In my mind, it's an RPG game.
Of the storytelling and everything.
Yeah,
definitely fits the
And
criteria.
I think another one that I've also played, Guild Wars too.
Mhm.
So I played a lot of Guild Wars as well. I only played it up to the first main core game. I didn't play the expansion. I think was it the Heart of Thorn.
Half tones, and then there's some flame or something. Can't remember what is it called now. Yeah.
So, but yeah, in a sense, I think Guild Wars was also a game I would like to consider as a really good RPG.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it definitely has a good story. I did enjoy my time playing it. So.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It does have a bit of the problem of the branching paths thing, like
Yeah, it does.
They give you the character backstory at the start, and then you think it's cool for a while, then you realize that, hey, wait a second, this doesn't add up, because in the end they just shoehorn me into doing something else.
Yeah, all the paths you take will end up in the same direction anyway.
Yeah, like the whole like, oh, which faction do you want to join? Then in the end they kind of just shoehorn you the main faction at the end of everything. So they have a bit of that problem, but overall I think the storyline was very cohesive.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't need to play the raids or the dungeons to get the main story. It would definitely help. And then the last boss was a big disappointment.
Oh well.
But yeah, I think Guild Wars is one of these things. Do you think that RPGs are the future? What do you think the future of RPGs are? That's a question I want to ask you.
What do I think the future of RPGs are? So in terms of JRPG, I'm hoping. Sometimes I have some gripes about JRPG in the sense that some of the way the characters are written are quite angsty, quite. I mean, because most of them are rated teen, they tend to write characters that are a bit too. Sometimes they are very one-dimensional. So they are easy to understand. So there are always characters that are easy to understand, which for a mature audience maybe like us would prefer something a bit more. So in terms of storytelling, I would say characters needs to be written better. Yeah. I would like a character that's not nuanced. So you then, I mean, the JRPG is such a 60-hour campaign. You want to, if you're already gonna spend 60 hours on it, you got to slowly introduce your characters and then put in things subtly. You don't have to like throw all his entire cards out within the first 30 minutes of the game and stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
But these are problems with like narrative and not actual gameplay wise.
Yeah.
Right?
So in terms of gameplay.
Yeah, like if I were to ask you like, what do you think the next step RPGs would take as a gameplay kind of thing wise? What do you think? What would you think?
I would think that the lines have blurred too far to recover. So the lines are already blurred initially with the past few years. You get action games that feel like RPGs, which already spawns its own subcategory of action RPGs. So it'll continue to blur. Next we'll start seeing a lot of they'll start not calling RPGs, but rather just by what other mechanics they choose to use. Because in a way all games are role playing.
Yep.
It's a form of escapism where we just role play either as a character we create ourselves or the character that is created by the creators. So I wouldn't mind playing a driving game that has some JRPG elements.
Oh god, I need to throw this out. I hate driving. I absolutely.
Well,
it's one of the few categories which I will play and then I will never play ever again. And if it's in the game, I will avoid it
completely.
As much as I can.
Well, if they made a sports game with JRPG, maybe I'll try because I don't really like sports games in general. But yeah.
Sports games with RPG.
Pyre comes to mind.
Okay, do you consider what's that game? It's by Supergiant.
Pyre.
What is it? What?
Pyre.
Shit. Yeah, Pyre. That's right.
Yeah. I will want to try it because it doesn't feel like a sports
Oh,
game.
no, you have to play Pyre.
Yeah,
You have.
I will.
You-
When it's on sale, I will grab it when it's on sale.
Oh god. No, you have to play Pyre.
Okay. I will find the time to play it. Yeah. So my main gripe with sports games during the previous episode was that they are nothing more than simulations, because
Yes.
sports
Oh,
plays always exactly the same.
Okay. Retracted statement. There are two types of games which I absolutely do not enjoy.
Okay.
One is sports games.
Okay. We are on the same page on that. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and driving games. So those are the two genres of games which I wouldn't say. I mean, I would still give it a try if it's fun. Like I played what's that called? That the combination of racing and fucking sports game.
Rocket League.
Rocket League was pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't put a lot of time into it,
Mhm.
but I think it's a mechanically really fun game.
Okay. I will.
But that being said, yes, those are the two genre of games which I do not enjoy.
So yeah. So because with such a blurring of lines of how JRPGs are, how RPGs in general are perceived, right?
Am I allowed to swear? Am I allowed to swear?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Like, I would play a game where you level up your characters and then there's a race, but like, if there's a core mechanic,
But what if it's just presented as a race, but the mechanics are kind of turn-based JRPG, maybe?
But then okay.
Then that wouldn't be considered a racing game, but it has racing as a pretense. Like the whole. Let me tell you about what idea a crazy idea I had. So I call it the trash princess. Imagine this princess of a small kingdom in this planet that has been bought over by a giant-ass empire to be used as a trash island, like a trash dumping ground. So her own planet was used as a trash dumping ground, and she's the current successor in the line. So in order to redeem her country, her planet, to buy the rights for her planet back, she decides to take part in this maybe like 60-hour long campaign of races, like a giant Grand Prix. So you have a JRPG segment, or maybe a more visual novel segment where you run around. You maybe at each pit stop of each race, you encounter a scenario, and then you resolve the scenario, and it helps you. Maybe you have one scenario where your engine is stolen somehow. You need to resolve it, and you got your engine back. Maybe by luck, you also get an upgrade to your engine. And then when the actual race comes, you won't need technical skills in driving in order to proceed through the race. But it is going to be presented in a race format. Think of it like Mario Kart.
It's literally Pyre, but as a sports game.
Yes, as a driving game.
Okay. I mean, okay, as in,
Yeah.
it's basically like Pyre. Like,
Yeah.
you have the main segment of the game, and then you have the storytelling segment, which I think can work.
Yeah.
Okay.
So because in my future, I would definitely want to see this, since it's gonna be blurred anyway. Might as well blur it even further, and then try to present present games that people would not play. Yeah, try to entice them to play, I guess.
Sounds interesting. Trash princess.
Yeah. So what about you?
What about me? I mean, I think I would like to see more games which embrace weird ideas, but I think it falls back to how good the story is. Because like I said, like I remember mentioning this to you like quite some time back. Like, I enjoy games where, in general, it has a very strong experience and narrative.
Yes.
Like it's basically the guy who came up with the game has an idea and a vision. You experience and you enjoy that
Yes.
whatever the creator came up with. And I basically enjoy games like that lah. So mechanically wise, even if it's not very interesting, if it's a mechanic that's done like 1,000 times, but it still has a very interesting like a aspect of storytelling to it, I can still play it lah.
I see.
Like, to me, it's the experience of like being able to understand what the creator wanted, and being able to okay, so this is what he meant, and stuff like that. I mean, sometimes you can use the old mechanics. I think that if it's not broken, why fix it, right?
Would you think that Undertale was a pretty good game that fulfilled that, almost close to that?
I mean, okay, I think Undertale was interesting. I think the fan base is garbage. like all
like all big communities,
Okay, no, but okay. I'm gonna be put on a stick for this. A lot of the games which are popular among the Western cultures reach a very toxic level when it comes to fan base.
Yes, that I agree, and that is also a good topic that we can always talk about in the next podcast.
So we can
Definitely,
talk about-
yeah.
we can talk
There's a
about-
shit ton we can talk about.
Yes, but I think it was actually to me it was a great game. It was interesting.
Mhm.
I enjoyed the whole fourth wall breaking,
Mhm.
you know, and then the combat style was pretty interesting. There were multiple ways you could solve the problem.
Mhm.
There was a bit of fourth wall breaking is the word like I said earlier. So
Yeah.
I think to be honest, it was a good game. It was interesting. It was enough to keep me absorbed. I wanted to know what happened.
So in terms of the story,
Yes.
okay.
I didn't necessarily enjoy the characters. In fact, I didn't really like a lot of the characters,
Mhm.
but I was absorbed. Like, I was interested to know what would happen.
I see.
And I think that's basically what a successful game is to me lah. It absorbs you, and then you want to figure out what's happening.
Yes, definitely.
You want to, yeah.
If not, why bother play a game if it doesn't engage you?
I would play a game is like there are reasons where I would play a game because mechanically it's really fun. But I wouldn't put it in, like there are games which are fun, and then there are games which are like considered as truly amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yeah, I
games
get what you're saying. Mhm.
Yeah. Like for example Overwatch. I like Overwatch. I play a lot of Overwatch, but it's just not compelling for me lah because it's overall it's still a shooter game. I mean there are some narratives to it, and then there's like the whole world built into it. But overall I think it's a game where you play and then you're like, yeah, that was fun.
And that's it.
Yeah, you don't sit down and like think it through. And I mean that's not its fault because that's not what it was built to do.
I see.
Yeah, I would consider it a great game. I wouldn't consider it as, you know, the game.
Let's talk about your favorite RPG.
Most favorite
Yeah, Mil's favorite RPG.
Most favorite RPG. Tough one. Favorite. I will go with Chrono Trigger.
Okay.
Without a doubt. Favorite RPG that I played. Partially because I played it when I was young,
Mm-hmm.
and then partially because it's an amazing game. I played Chrono Trigger I think like 4 times.
4 times.
I played it when I was young. I
Mhm.
did one ending and then I stopped because that I was still young. Like, I didn't have it wasn't my console. It was my cousin's. He'd go over there and I would play it for a couple of hours,
Mhm.
and then I would go home and go back the next day and then play. So it's a very disjointed experience, but I
Mhm.
enjoyed it. Then I got my PlayStation. There was a PlayStation version that came out, and that
Mhm.
was the one where I sat through and completed all the different endings.
So
And I
another
think
3
there
more
were like
times.
12 endings. I
Yeah.
think there were 12 endings. I can't really remember. But
Were there 8? I think there was 8, right?
I think I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's been years. Yeah, it's been many years.
Mhm.
I may be wrong, but
Mhm.
I think there are 8 endings.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 endings.
Mhm.
Then there's the few bonus endings.
I see.
But yeah, so I played through most of the endings.
Mhm.
I finished it. Then it came out on the DS.
Mhm.
I replayed it on the DS. Then it came out for the iOS, and I played it on the iOS.
Oh
because
my.
why not, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was my experience. It came out on the PC, but I'm not gonna buy that version.
Okay.
Because, yeah, it's not.
It wasn't well received. I heard.
Yeah, it wasn't well received. Yeah, and then I just don't have the time to sit through another. But yes, Chrono Trigger is I would consider like one of the best RPGs I have played.
In terms of the story,
My 20+ years of existence.
so is that mostly in terms of the story?
In terms of story presentation, like like when I was younger,
Mhm.
so there's a portion in the game where basically one of the lady wants to regrow a forest.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, if you don't know what Chrono Trigger is that it's a time travel game.
Mhm.
You get to travel back and forth in time. Basically, the storyline involves multiple timelines and stuff like that. I think they're trying to stop this from happening. The main characters jump back and forth through like their normal time of 1000 AD to like how many like 65 BC or something like that, and then it's like a 2008. So basically, it's a lot of time traveling here.
I see.
But so okay, one of the few things that stood out to me was when I was younger.
Mhm.
One of the sites, this lady wants to in the 600 AD wants to grow a forest. Okay, and then she tells the people that that's a dream to grow a forest in this area. And this area is basically a desert if you go back into the main timeline.
I see.
The present. And then she's like, yeah, I want to grow a forest because of this.
Mm-hmm.
So in your party, you have a robot from the future. She says that to grow the forest, you need like hundreds of years, but then she'll be dead before she's able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So they suggest that
if only I could find a way to to go past that time. So you can actually suggest to leave your robot behind, your party member, to tend to the forest for 400 years.
Oh.
Okay, so he will tend to the forest for 400 years. You leave him there, and then he leaves your party.
Mm-hmm.
You out of the sprites, you see him tending to the forest. You can see your sprite will move around, and then he'll tend to the forest. So what happens is you can go to the present, and then it changes the present, because now instead of a desert, it's actually a huge forest area.
I see.
You can find a shrine that they built for him.
Oh.
You can reactivate him, and he'll rejoin your party.
Oh.
So you don't actually use your party member, but but you get him back.
Well, this is like one of those moments where the
and
narrative and everything just works together.
Yeah, and when I was a kid, this blew my mind. I was like, what? Oh shit, that's amazing, because what I'm doing now actually makes sense. And that's the reason why I say that. And this was at a time, this was like SNES era.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a time when no one even thought of doing something like this.
yeah, and then it's like somebody could think of like, why do I just make a time-based RPG, stuff like that. And like in my mind, I was like, what's going? This game's crazy, and so.
That's definitely something. But there are various other time traveling kind of RPGs that happen past then, but none of them. Have you played most of them or any of them?
Like which one?
There was one for the DS or 3DS, I can't remember, called Radiant Historia.
Oh yes. So I played Radiant Historia. I didn't finish it.
Okay.
But yes, it does the time mechanic as well.
Mm.
But at the same time, it's not done to the point where it doesn't have the same impact as it. I mean, it could be also partially because as you get older, you get jaded.
Yeah, that's true.
You've seen this before,
Mm-hmm.
and then it kind of loses like
The magic.
So sometimes it's about that, but at the same time, the characters that are made in the game are actually very compelling.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like plus and minus.
I see.
Me lah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really think of any other games that does the time mechanics so well.
That everything just fits properly. It leaves such a lasting impact on you.
The story. And then you got the bad guy to join you. He joins you later halfway through the game, and it's a secret character. Like you can actually skip it, but if you read the story and you know what's going on, you can actually try to recruit him. Then he can join your party.
I see.
And then it was back in a time where these things were new, like getting the bad guy to join you. Oh, the bad guy wasn't really a bad guy all along, stuff like that.
These are like novel concepts during the time where things are much more black and white, in a sense.
And I think it's a bit unfair for me to say like it was, because at the time it was new. I mean, if a game tried to use that mechanic now, everybody was just like, this idea has been rehashed. So it's a bit unfair to say such thing. I guess that's why it's
But but you don't necessarily need to like recreate the same thing. You just need to find what was so special about it. As a new project, find what's so special about it, and then just present your ideas to be what is so special about it, basically.
Yeah, I think so too, lah. Yeah. So what about you? What do you think your top pick for art?
My top pick for, let's say, I can have a topic for Western and Japanese RPG since. So for me, my Western RPG pick would be Baldur's Gate 2.
Baldur's Gate, okay.
So
I actually never finished one.
Yeah, so Baldur's Gate 2 was a sequel for Baldur's Gate 1. So it came out about early 2000. It's a sequel, so unless you play Baldur's Gate 1, which I did, then you will mostly get the story. If not, you'll kind of feel disjointed, because your main character starts locked up in a prison, then you have to find a way out. And then within the first 5 minutes, they introduce you to this maniacal antagonist who imprisons you and wants to operate on you and stuff like that, like some mad scientist. So yeah, what stood out to me with regards to the story is grand scale of it, in a way. During that time, I'll never have imagined that RPG would throw so many shit at me. So every one of those characters, they all have their side stories. And the characters are written in an interesting way. So in traditional D&D sense, you have your alignments, your evils and your good characters. Yeah. Baldur's Gate 2 presents a spectrum of characters based on all of these different alignments. So you can choose to ally yourself with a good person or a bad person. You yourself can be a certain alignment, and then the party members can consist of any other alignment. You don't necessarily need to be evil just to play evil, but of course it comes at a price where you start having evil and good characters within, because they will bicker and fight, and maybe let's kill each other and stuff like that. Yeah, but at that point in time, that was what really stood out to me. All the characters there were a lot of attention put into the characters, And then
so it's like if I would put it, it would be like the first time a morality system is actually done well.
First time morality system that done well and isn't enforcing you to do either good or evil. You have the option of
Basically
yeah.
what BioWare wants.
BioWare should have continued doing nowadays lah. Because right now they tend to always push you along the path. Either you are the path of good or evil, and your surrounding characters and the way the world behaves is black and white. Either if you are black, then they behave black. If you are white, they behave white. You don't get a gray where, because in real life, when you have a adventure and a crisis that happens, right, you don't necessarily always have the best of people around to help you. So Baldur's Gate presents you with a situation where if you really need this guy's expertise and he's a bad guy, you got to weigh the consequences whether you want this guy on your team.
Okay. I see.
So and because a lot of the major quest lines in the game somewhat are a bit asshole. They require you to sometimes have certain skill sets in order to proceed. Like I remember clearly there was a quest line where the whole city where the main game was located was kind of infested with vampires. So unless your own character is a paladin with a specific specification of killing undeads, your team will have a hard time killing them. And you'll be killing like 20 over vampires throughout the ending parts of the quest. So there is a paladin that can do the job, but he's of an evil alignment. So that gives you the question whether you want to pick him up, to make your life easier, or you need to truck through it, or So that really stood out to me.
Okay, that sounds cool. Okay, I can see why this system is one of the interesting choices as well as whether like the price, whether you can whether you can accept the price and stuff.
Yeah,
I think very seldom do you see games nowadays that actually do this well.
Definitely, yeah. Or I wouldn't say just do it well. Just present the facts lah, in a way. Because we all know that the world is grey. So don't try and. I mean, it makes sense on a mechanical sense to simplify things, makes it easy to balance. But narratively, you should try to portray it more grey and let people figure out why.
Like, not all the good actions are always good.
Yeah.
All the bad actions are always bad.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's my Western RPG pick. For JRPG, I will pick Final Fantasy 12.
Wait. What the? Alright, wait. 12. 12 is Sky Pirate.
Yes. Van. Wow, this is regarding Van's existence. he pretty much is a non-existent.
12 is fun.
12 is fun, definitely.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is that 12 wanted to do was really break away from the tradition. That makes me think that it was quite fresh at the time. So this will tie into why I picked Baldur's Gate as my Western RPG pick as well. So they both have something similar in terms of the mechanics, the combat system.
Pseudo online RPG style game.
Yeah,
right?
so
what I remember from
So for 12, your party members, you can set up a set of, it's like programming. You can set up a set of AI protocols for them. They'll behave automatically when they encounter enemies.
The Gambit system, right?
Yes, the Gambit system. Yes, I think it's called the Gambit system. Yes. Yeah. So that system where you program, they'll always follow a set programming that you did, and then you can always you can always have the option to pause and then redirect your party as and when anytime you want. So yeah. So a lot of Western RPGs during the 1990s era to the 2000 eras also has this system. In particular, the Baldur's Gate series. So in Baldur's Gate, your party will always automatically engage the enemy, but you can always have the option to pause at any time to issue commands on your parties to chain things up. So the last game that I played that had this option was the original Dragon's Age Origins.
Dragon's Age.
Dragon's Age.
Dragon Age, yes, okay.
Yeah, the first Dragon's Age.
Yes.
Besides playing as the third person part, you can play as the more top-down isometric version.
Yes, I remember
the commander view, I think.
Yeah.
So to me, that system plays very close to my heart in a way, and also 12 story, which is slightly more mature and more political and more dark.
I think, to be fair, 12 had actually really good story.
Yes.
The whole princess and everything. I think it was.
Yeah, the whole political intrigue and all that shit. Yeah.
It gets a bit of unnecessary hate because at the time what it was trying to do felt a bit more like a single player MMO than an actual Final
Yes.
Fantasy game. So it got a lot of hate from the community.
Because of its mechanics.
That was actually not
Yeah.
necessary. Yeah. There's a new version that came out, right?
Yeah, the Zodiac Age, which technically added some quality of life improvements and other stuff for the game. So
Okay. Yeah.
it wasn't not bad. Yeah.
So, I would have never expected you to. I would have thought it would be like Final Fantasy 6. Then I'll be like, yup, okay, we can talk about this.
So have you did listen to our previous episode, right?
Yeah.
I would have explicitly said that I have not played Final Fantasy 6 yet.
Oh. You need to play Final Fantasy 6.
Yes, I do. Dale is gonna find me a copy of it somehow to play it.
Yeah, you're not supposed to advocate piracy. Yes, you need to get a
Yeah, I need to get a copy of it.
the iOS has a solution.
Yep. Or Dale already bought SNES. It wouldn't be surprising for him to buy a freaking ROM, the cartridge.
You mean it's not an impossible option?
Mhm.
Not an impossible option.
Yeah. But let's see.
He'll probably be able to find it.
Yeah.
You
So
can get the full authentic experience.
yes, playing it on the 16-bit with all the shitty sounds.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't call it shitty, but yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, 12.
Didn't expect that.
Mhm.
12 is interesting.
No, 12 had the story where
It does feel more mature. But
Yeah,
it feels
definitely.
It feels very Final Fantasy Tactics more than
yes.
the the regular Final
Definitely. And actually, the whole commander view or whatever I was talking about, where you can your army or your platoon can automatically attack, and then you can pause and issue commands, and everything happens in real time once you're off the pause. That can easily be a tactical RPG game, which tactical RPGs in general we haven't seen much new stuff from them.
Technically, Nino Kuni is
Huh.
this one, right?
I'll consider that an action RPG. Was
I think there was something like a gambit system in there,
Oh.
but
Oh.
it wasn't very well done.
Mhm.
That's what I tried. This is what I remember.
Okay.
It's been a while since I tried
Mhm.
the first version. The
I
first
see.
one at least.
Yep.
Interesting. If it wasn't Chrono Trigger, I would have gone with because both of them are like my top, the very classical RPG that I would put as my top few.
I see. So yeah, wrapping up.
I think in general the term RPG will eventually become obsolete. Like it's not a term that will like it doesn't have its own like if you think about FPS it's very clear cut.
Yeah, it's first person shooter, first person.
Or
yeah.
or like a third person action. Like when you come up with these words,
Mhm.
like it's very easy to tell what they are. But
Mhm.
like if you think as a RPG, like somebody tells you RPG, there are just like so many things. You could have an action RPG, you have a tactical RPG, you can have an FPS RPG. There's a lot of it's not something that stands alone anymore. I think, and I
Mhm.
think eventually we're gonna move to a stage where we kind of it's no longer an RPG becomes an obsolete term because it's already ingrained.
Yeah.
The fact that you are in the game and playing as the character is the RPG portion of any game.
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah. So in summary, I think that's what I feel about RPGs, and
Mhm.
I enjoy it. I play a lot of RPGs.
Mhm.
I will continue to play RPGs. Unfortunately, time is a big problem. With
Yeah, but RPGs will continue to always be a genre that always come out with stuff. Especially, it is one of the biggest genres in the Japanese market. So we'll definitely be seeing more and more.
Visual novels are the next generation, guys.
Well, if visual novel has more than stuff than clicking, maybe. Well, we never know. The normies nowadays, they don't really like to play. They don't really like to play games that involves.
Doki Doki Literature Club, man.
Wow, that game.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we're definitely getting
Sooner or
there.
later, we'll all
Yeah.
get there. We can cover this another time.
Yeah, we
I can
definitely.
force you guys to read visual novels. I would love that.
Yeah, visual novels. Well, we can talk about the history of visual novels and how much it has evolved.
Yes.
Or
Or
not.
we can do a playthrough.
We could definitely do a playthrough.
I'll pick the top one pick and then
Yeah.
and then we'll play through it.
Yeah, it's nothing too
No,
heavy.
we'll do an actual story one.
Okay.
We won't do a shitty Nukage that I always read. No, we'll do an actual story.
Okay,
one.
cool. We'll definitely arrange for something like that.
Okay.
So
I guess we'll wrap up.
yeah, we wrap up. So yeah,
Right.
so
We're gonna go play Monster Hunter now, guys.
yeah, probably maybe in half an hour's time we'll be online.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So this is me, Adrian. Bye bye.
Yeah. Bye.